The old man sat quietly on the worn wooden bench in the small-town park, the chill of the early autumn breeze rustling the dry leaves around him. His hands, gnarled with age, clutched a faded leather wallet, inside which lay a photograph of a young boy with bright eyes and a mischievous smile. That boy was his son, Michael, now grown, living miles away in the bustling city, caught up in the whirlwind of life. The old man's name was Henry, and for as long as anyone could remember, he had poured every ounce of love, care, and sacrifice into his son's life. He had worked long hours at the factory, often coming home exhausted and aching, just to tuck Michael into bed, read him a story, or watch him sleep with a quiet smile. He remembered the nights he stayed awake, listening to Michael's gentle breathing, silently praying for his health, his happiness, and the fulfillment of all the dreams he carried in his small heart. Michael had always been ambitious. From the moment he could talk, he spoke of adventures, of cities full of lights, of a life bigger than the small Midwestern town they called home. Henry had listened, encouraged and cheered, never once asking him to stay, knowing that his son's dreams were bigger than the boundaries of their little life. On Michael's 18th birthday, Henry handed him an envelope with a shaky hand. Inside was the plane ticket to New York City, and a note that read, "Chase your dreams, but remember where you come from. Remember me." Michael had hugged his father tightly, tears glimmering in his eyes, promising to stay in touch, to call, to come home whenever he could. Henry had smiled, pretending to be calm, though inside, a storm of worry and longing raged. Years passed. Michael built his life in the city, climbing the corporate ladder, making friends, falling in love, and eventually starting a family of his own. He would call occasionally, sometimes just leaving a voicemail, sometimes forgetting altogether. Henry never complained. He understood that life had a rhythm of its own. He filled his days with walks around the park, gardening in his small backyard and volunteering at the local library. But nights were always the hardest. He would sit by the window, staring at the dark horizon, whispering Michael's name into the wind, hoping it would carry his love across the miles. His neighbors often saw him talking to himself, a gentle smile on his lips, tears sometimes brimming in his eyes. They knew his story and admired his devotion, though no words could ever capture the depth of his loneliness. One crisp morning, Henry woke with an unfamiliar weakness in his body. The doctor's office confirmed what he had been fearing for some time. His heart was failing. The news hit him harder than he expected, not because of fear, but because he realized the time to see Michael one last time might be slipping away. He tried to reach his son immediately, dialing the city number with trembling fingers. After several attempts, Michael finally answered. His voice was hurried, tired, full of distractions. "Dad, is everything okay?" he asked. Henry, despite the pain and urgency in his chest, forced a calm tone. "Michael, I just want to see you. Please come home," he said. There was silence on the other end, followed by the soft crackle of a promise. "I'll try, Dad. I'll be there soon." Henry's eyes welled with tears. That word, soon, was enough to sustain him for a little longer. Days passed, and Henry's condition worsened. He knew he couldn't wait indefinitely. His memories became his solace, each one a vivid reminder of the love and time he had poured into his son's life. He recalled the countless mornings waking up before sunrise to make breakfast, the afternoons spent teaching Michael how to ride a bike or throw a baseball, the evenings when they would sit by the fire, sharing dreams and stories. Each memory was a thread connecting him to Michael, and each thread held him upright even as his body grew frail. One evening, as he sat on the porch holding the photograph of Michael, he whispered a prayer, not for himself, but for his son. "Be happy, my boy. Live fully, but don't forget where you came from. Don't forget me." Meanwhile, Michael's life in the city was unraveling faster than he had anticipated. Work pressures, family responsibilities, and unexpected crises kept him occupied, and guilt gnawed at him constantly. He thought of his father often, but excuses always seemed to stand in the way. Too busy, too far, too late. Until that day when a call from the hospital jolted him awake, Your father's condition is critical. You need to come now." Panic surged through him. In that moment, every missed call, every postponed visit, every broken promise weighed heavily on his heart. He grabbed his suitcase, hopped into a cab, and raced toward the airport, a storm of regret and desperation propelling him forward. When Michael finally arrived, the sight of his father lying weakly in the hospital bed stopped him in his tracks. Henry's face was pale, yet his eyes shone with a gentle warmth. Michael fell to his knees beside him, gripping his father's hand tightly. "Dad, I'm so sorry. I should have been here sooner. I should have." Henry raised a feeble hand to silence him, a soft smile playing on his lips. "Shh, my boy. It's all right. You're here now. That's all that matters." Tears streamed down Michael's face as he held onto Henry, feeling the weight of years of absence, the depth of sacrifice, and the boundless love that had never wavered. For days they spoke little, simply holding on to each other. Henry whispered stories of the past. Michael shared tales of the city, and together they rebuilt the bridge of connection that time and distance had strained. One night, as Michael slept in a chair beside the bed, Henry's breathing grew shallow. He reached for Michael's hand, squeezing it gently. "Promise me, Michael. Live fully, love deeply, but never forget your roots, your family, me." Michael's tears fell freely. "I promise, Dad. I promise," he said, clutching his father's hand as if letting go would mean losing him forever. That night, Henry closed his eyes, not with fear, but with peace, comforted by the presence of the son he had loved more than life itself. After Henry passed, Michael stayed in the small town, tending to his father's garden, walking the park bench, and keeping alive the memories and lessons Henry had instilled. He realized that life's true wealth was not in achievements, possessions, or accolades, but in love, sacrifice, and the simple moments shared with those who mattered most. Michael often sat on the same wooden bench, gazing at the horizon, whispering to his father, knowing that even if Henry was no longer there physically, his heart, his teachings, and his love would always guide him. And in that realization, Michael found not just sorrow but hope, a heart-touching, enduring bond that death could never sever.